Welcome to Women of Wisdom, everyone. And side note, technology decided to throw a major hissy fit between me seeing our guest and our guest seeing me. But we can at least hear each other. So that's why we're not on Google Plus this morning like we planned, because technology decided to throw a monkey wrench into my interview. But we're lucky enough to have Simone Biz. Correct me of your last name, Simone.
It's it's pronounced Ravis, as
Okay,
if it were an S.
okay, as if it were yes. Okay, so we're lucky enough to have Simone with us, and she's based out of California. And how we met is through another business contact of mine. I was on a panel with her, and one of the interesting things that Simone said on that panel is being a solo entrepreneur, you have got to let everything go. You have got to let someone else do your work, because we all get consumed by every which way. Now, Simone also has two books out. She also has a psychologist degree, and so one of the things we're going to talk about today is not only her books, but how to mentally prepare to write a book.
Right,
And so
exactly.
take it away, Dr. Simone.
All right. Well, I'm glad to be here with everybody, and it's interesting that you asked how to mentally prepare for a book because writing a book can be very stressful, and a lot of people aren't aware of that when they're starting out on that journey.
Oh, no, they're not.
They're not. They don't know
No, they're
anymore.
not. No, they're not. No one told me how stressful writing a book was, even though I was doing it for grief therapy.
Right.
And so
Right.
no one necessarily told me how stressful planning a book was.
Right, right. And when you mention the word planning, that really jumps out at me because to the extent that you can get a lot of planning in there, the stress is going to be reduced. If you can go ahead and have a general sense, try to organize and plan an outline, plan a table of contents, specify and really what I like to do is to write a book purpose. Now, you're probably all familiar with a life purpose. And most business owners, all business owners should have a life purpose in mind. And that's basically the why. Why are you going into this business? Why do you want to be working on your own? Um, why are you targeting this particular market segment? What do you hope to achieve, etc. So doing the same thing for a book. Why are you writing the book?
Now you have taught me something. I am, when I work on my own book, I am when I'm working on my own Women of Wisdom book, I'm going to set time aside to write why I'm writing the book, because a
Great.
lot of people don't think that. And
Right.
so you taught me something, and you taught me something over the years of over the many months of working with you, that you have got to let go of these demons when writing a book. And so that being said, I know you have two disabilities, one being lupus, and give me the other one.
When we're at only two, we're at only two. I'll just name a few of them. I have fibromyalgia, I have lupus, I have diabetes, I have degenerative osteoarthritis,
Oh
and I
man.
have a pancreas, so it goes on and on.
It goes on and on and on. But I wanted to raise awareness about lupus for 2 quick seconds, and that leads me to my first question. What is your deepest regret?
hmm You know, I had a really hard time with that question, Win, and I'll tell you why. It's because I live my life very much in the present and the here and now, and I don't tend to dwell in the past. And regrets are about the past. So I really did have a hard time with that question. And my deepest regret, I guess my deepest regret would have to do with the illnesses, and my regret would be that I hadn't treated myself more gently and with greater love when I first became ill. That I was very judgmental and I let those negative self-talk, let that
That
fly.
um that would be, I don't know if my viewers know this, they must know it by now. I lost my mom 4 years ago to a brain aneurysm, and
Mm-hmm.
that would be my deepest regret, as to not, I win as a form of grief therapy, but as to not let myself go. I was picking up every single other person off the ground and
Mm-hmm.
not picking up myself, and then
Mm-hmm.
um, and then I ended up having health complications because of it, and now got those resolved 5 years later because
Right.
I finally said, you need to stop picking everyone up off of the ground, and you need to focus on yourself. So this year in
Good lesson learned.
2014,
Yeah.
I have decided to focus on myself. Take one day, no business meetings whatsoever, and take one day and just focus on me. And I learned that lesson the hard way. And
Yeah.
so, please explain more of what you do.
Okay. As you mentioned psychology, I worked as a psychologist for about 15 years. Now, for the past 4 years or so, I've been working as a business and life coach. And I specialize in small business owners and solopreneurs. I help them if they're experiencing problems with profitability or getting out there, getting known by potential customers, if they're having financial problems or problems with their employees, things of that nature. So I help on the business side, helping with marketing plans and the like. What I always see, however, and the reason I'm a business and life coach is because I would say 90% of the time when I work with business people, the issues are really psychological and they're really more on the life coach end of things. There are problems with mindset, which frequently stands in their way of making progress towards their goals. And, you know, huge therein lies fear, fear of change, fear of failure, fear of success, just a host of things that I need to work with people on and challenge them and get them to stop with the stinking thinking and replace it
I
with
like
rational.
that. I like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
term. I like that term.
yeah. Well, it's so appropriate, and we all do it. You know, that negative mind chatter. And once we learn not to, we can train our brains or retrain our brains not to think in that negative way. And we can create new neuronal pathways in our brain that are much more positive and that's lasting. So that's my most recent book is on neuroscience.
Oh my God. Ugh. Oh
Yeah,
my
it's
God.
well,
Neuroscience.
but it's explained very simply, and I offer 7 different psychological techniques that you can use neuroscience works through them. You can use them to really change your life. And I explain it very simply.
So neuroscience works. It's it's basically what you're saying is how you think is how you change the brain.
Exactly. If you're thinking in a more positive way, there's a saying that says neurons that fire together wire together. So
I
if
like
you're
that.
thinking,
I like
yeah,
that.
thinking in a positive way,
I like that.
neurons are going to link together and they're going to be positive and they're going to create new neuronal pathways. Now, it used to be thought years ago that once past childhood or adolescence, the brain didn't change. Well, now we know that's absolutely a myth and that we can change the brain as
Oh
long as
yes,
we're alive. Yeah.
yes.
And,
To give my viewers an example of
uh-huh.
what I'm doing, I am learning how to walk again independently for the
Yeah.
fifth time. Thank you very
Mm-hmm.
much. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I am learning how to walk again
Right.
without the assistance of a walker for the fifth time, which
Mm-hmm.
is a little bit of a challenge, but I know I can do it because it's retraining the brain to think in that positive way.
Exactly, exactly. And another really interesting thing about changing the brain is that a lot of the aging, the problems that happen with aging, memory loss, degeneration, things like that, we can really make a huge impact on those through changing the brain and using the brain, but also through exercise and what we eat.
And
Huge impact.
what is your next what is your biggest life lesson in writing these two books?
Well, I actually have 3 books. I mean, I'm counting that one as done because it is
Oh my
done.
God, you have 3 books since
Yeah.
last time we talked.
Well,
I wrote down 2 books, but
yeah,
no,
the
it's
first one I think you're familiar with. It was called High on Stress:
yeah.
A Woman's Guide to Optimizing the Stress in Her Life. The second was called Thriving with Your Autoimmune Disorder: A Woman's Mind-Body Guide. So,
I need to get that. I need
I,
to get that for
yeah,
myself because
yeah.
I don't I don't have autoimmune disorder like lupus, but cerebral palsy is kind of autoimmune disorder. It's more bone and joint disorder, but
Right,
I'm sure your
right.
wisdom can help me to
Well,
get
yeah, there's techniques in
my life.
there, and they're Eastern and Western, and
Yeah,
it's a self-help book. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. And when does your third book come out?
it should be out in April or May.
Congratulations on that.
Thank
Congrats,
you.
congrats. Um, and then how can people get in contact with you if they find your wisdom today so fascinating?
I'd
How
love to hear from
could people
anybody. Yeah, they
get
can contact me on my website, and that is www.essentials with an S, essentials coaching, one word, essentialscoaching.net.
and
And
I
yes,
have a question.
uh-huh.
What do you think is the keys to stress relief before you write a book?
Oh, well, before you write a book, like what I was saying, planning is huge and getting organized. Now, if you looked at my room, it's a good thing maybe that Google Hangout isn't working because my room is piled high with books and papers and everything. So there is organization in my madness, however. I have everything piled in an organized way. But trying to keep your space organized is very helpful. As I said, setting goals in terms of how much you're going to be writing. And that's hard for authors because I know people get in the flow sometimes and they don't want to move and they type for hours. Other times they look at a blank page and they freeze. So there's a lot of stress that can be involved with looking at a white blank page. And what you can do is maybe get up, take a walk, do some meditation, get some exercise, come back and see if your brain is working in a different mode, if you're
Yes.
more creative.
Yes.
Now, meditation is ideal for writing because you can get your brain waves to different wave states where creativity is much greater than it is normally. And that's in the slower brainwave state, like theta, or even beta, which we're normally in. When we're relaxed, we're much more creative.
Yes. Um, what I would recommend, because I use assistive technology, is I
Right.
always have a headphone with nice, relaxing music in my
Yeah.
ear as I write, particularly Enya. Thank you very much. Um, because I find that, and studies have shown that people with cerebral palsy like the calming influence of of people singing or birds singing. I've found birds work for me too, and
Word.
the birds, yes, I say birds, and so because music puts you in a completely different state. So that's
Yeah,
a secret I don't tell
that's
people,
great.
that
That's
I
great.
listen to music as I'm writing, but I I wanna focus on my books, and one of the things you taught me today is
Mhm.
write out why you're writing this book.
Right, it's huge. It's really huge, and
Yes,
it keeps you on a straight path.
yes. It
And usually, probably my writing, and I think your writing, well, your writing, you talked about it being sort of a self-help book for you yourself, going through the grief and so on. But I know that you also want to help other people, and
yes,
that's why I write my books.
yes, to
So
help
yeah,
other
having
people,
a book
and
goal,
I'm doing it via speech dictation
right?
on
Wow.
my phone. So
Mhm.
on my laptop, on my phone, and on my, so I can't type. I speak, and then I send it to my editor, and she makes it all pretty.
Oh,
So
that's good.
and so that's public. That's public, and I win. So for me, it's an extra challenge because I am not only typing a book, but thinking about a book as the process goes on, but I'm actually speaking book.
Yeah, that's difficult. I don't know if I could do that. I'm much better writing because as I write, the thoughts just flow out.
People say to me, "Wow, that's amazing. You wrote a whole manuscript on an iPhone." And I said, "Yes, that's
It
amazing. It
is
took
amazing.
it took time. There are
Yeah.
days where Siri, my pen, doesn't want to work. There are days
Yes.
where she cops her attitude. There are days where technology cops her attitude. Hint,
Attitude.
hint. And so, yeah. But do you ever think about writing children's books?
It was a very interesting question you asked, and after I read that question, I started talking to somebody about children's books, and this person reminded me when I was 7 and 8, I lived in Switzerland in a boarding school with my
Oh
brother,
my God.
and those were the happiest years of many years of my life, and I think I actually got kind of excited thinking about, I could write a children's book. It was a year of challenge. It was a year of 2 years of so much growth. I was going to school with people from all over the world, and all grades were in one classroom.
Oh
And,
my God.
seeing parents several times that year. They were in India. My parents were both
Oh my
anthropologists.
God.
Yeah, so they were in India, but they would visit us over the holidays. But I could write a really fun, fascinating story
Yeah.
about being a child in
Yeah,
such.
you can't. You could. And when I was growing up, because I was mainstreamed in a normal classroom, my classmates didn't learn about the dis- disability through a child's book.
Uh-huh. Oh,
They learned it physically watching me and
but
helping
yeah,
me and doing all that. Now there's child books out the yin yang about disabilities,
yeah,
certainly about lupus, I presume. But when I was growing up, there was no books about disabilities. Mama uses a wheelchair, Mama Zoom,
right.
or there was no books about disabilities. There might have been a very hungry caterpillar, but it didn't deal with cerebral palsy,
Didn't.
and there might have been brown bear, what do you see? But
Hmm.
it didn't deal with cerebral palsy. So
No.
I am going to be working on a children's book in the next couple months here, based on brown bear, what do you see? But it's going to be disabled. Brown bear, what do you see?
That is fantastic.
And so that's my
Congratulations.
thank you. That's my that's my next project after I get all these other projects out of the way. And
Yeah.
so and so that's why I asked you, would you be willing to write a children's book, because I think that would be fascinating, coming from a psychologist's point of view, on how she grew up with
Mm.
all the mainstreams of different cultures.
Yes, so very much so. I mean, I was very fortunate because my parents were anthropologists. My brothers and I traveled all over the world when we were young. So I've always been exposed to people from all different cultures and all different walks of life. And I think that led to me becoming a psychologist, the interest in people.
The interest in people.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate your time, and again, a side note, everyone, I'm so sorry that you didn't get to see the wisdom, physically see the wisdom of this woman we're actually talking to today, because technology decided to throw a hissy fit. And I want to thank and extend my gratitude to Dr. Simone, and thank her for having gracing us with her wisdom, even though she talks through it. And it was really fascinating for me to interview you.
Thank you. It was great to be interviewed
Thank
by
you.
you. I respect you so much. I think that you're a wonderful, outstanding person.
Thank you.
I wanted to add that the name of my book is going to be Brain Bliss, 7 Ways to Help Your Brain Help Yourself.
Oh my God. I now have to go get your second book off Amazon, because I need that book after
Yeah.
talking to you. I definitely need that book after talking to you, because maybe in the next couple weeks I'll get it off Amazon. But are your books available on your website, or
Yes,
how can?
they're available on Amazon.com.
Okay, okay,
And the new book will be available both on Amazon and Barnes and Noble,
okay.
and it will also be a Kindle book.
Okay,
Yeah.
um, so right now your books are not in Kindle format.
No, those books are not.
So yes, you have to
Have to
physically
read.
read,
Gotta change the
read,
pages. Pages.
read a book,
Yes.
because people are so used to these technology. So
Yes.
yes, to get Simone's wisdom, you have to physically read a book. And I appreciate your time, as I said, and I hope to be graced with your wisdom in the future, Simone.
Wynn, thank you anytime, and I know that you'll be walking soon.